Hi everyone. Well, by now most people have heard. I'm going to go a little bit off my normal set of topics, but I don't have any rules for this channel because nobody's watching anyway. So everybody knows that in Canada there's going to be an election, and it's going to be around the end of April, the very beginning of May, like April 28th, May 5th, whatever, a week apart, same thing. And so now, even more so than the last few weeks with Mark Carney being appointed as Liberal Party leader and therefore automatically Prime Minister of Canada, a lot of people had a lot of griping to do about that. But then again, in fairness, a lot of people need to maybe read up on our system. They also posted and published. I saw a couple of different. I won't call them out. Saw a couple of different publications calling an order in council an executive order. They are not the same things, and maybe our journalists need to understand the terminology, or at least apply. Forget understand, but at least apply the terminology that is accurate to the Canadian parliamentary democracy, rather than the American system of government. Let's at least use the right terms to describe what's happening in our country. But maybe I started on a tangent, pardon me. But regardless, so we got an election coming, and we know that that means that the slander and the nonsense and the digging up of people's lives and the dragging people through the mud is all coming, fast and furious, to use a cliche and a terrible chain of movies, terrible franchise of movies. It's coming. The misinformation, the intentional misdirection, getting you to believe terrible things about people in terms of who they are as human beings, getting us to all believe that politics is the WWE with good guys and bad guys. This is all coming. And some of you out there are going to make it happen. And some of you social media gurus and nobodies who have made a living off of grabbing statistics online and making videos and complaining without having any solutions, you're going to make it worse. You're presenting half a story at best. You're out there and you know who you are. I have no audience. You have an audience. There's people out there just ripping to shreds any of the parties or any of the candidates. You know what? It's the absolute underbelly of social media, and it's the lowest form of human behavior to just slander and slander. If you're going to complain, this is a bit of a long intro. If you're going to complain about how any party has governed or how any individual has made decisions, and you can at least back it up with a little bit of objective evidence, not a TikTok video, not a tweet, some evidence. And you're always going to have to question the narrator no matter what. You're always going to have to question the source. But you need to back up whatever opinions you have with reputable information. Then you can go ahead and formulate an opinion, formulate a criticism, but do not attack the people. I got news for you. Nobody thinks they're the bad guy. Nobody thinks that what they're doing is intentionally putting Canada or any other country, I hope, in the toilet. Nobody thinks that what they're doing is intentionally destroying your quality of life. Nobody actually believes that. They might think that your little concern on a grand scale unfortunately can't be prioritized. But policies that are geared at the many, for example, or supposedly geared at the many, that ruffle your feathers, that run up contrary to what you believe, are not the same as an attack against you. And so, here we go again. We are entering election campaign time. The parties, the two big parties and the little NDP off to the side, let's see how they handle things. And I'm not even mentioning the Greens, and it's slander time. And unfortunately, this is what works for us. We need it to be brought down to a good guy versus, like, good guy, bad guy thing. It's not true. At the end of it all, parliamentarians work together. Committees are comprised of different parties because that's just how it works. A minority government is tempered and somewhat kept honest, accountable, whatever you want to call it, by the fact that they're a minority government, for example. That's the balance of it, right? So, I mean, here we are. The election is coming, and you're going to be out here receiving information from a variety of sources. So you don't need to give a shit about what I say, but I'm going to say it anyway. While you're informing yourself, get off of X and get off of any of these one-sided platforms that have moved really far right based on ownership. But I also encourage you to vary up your sources of information. So I don't blame you if you don't just blindly follow what the CBC says or what CTV News says or what the National Post says. I don't blame you. But I also encourage you, please don't allow yourself to be guided by rebel news, or just, it has to be balanced. And if you're refusing to find more than one source for your information, then you become part of the problem and part of the polarization. We're so far apart, and I don't know why. The reality is, we need to have a lot more central policies that compromise what the left seem to be trying to do and what the right seem to be trying to do. I'm not going to go into my personal beliefs on policy. I'm really not. But what I am going to say is that in terms of policy, when you're getting angry and worried about how it impacts you, try your best to understand that policies are supposed to be for the benefit of all. When you're pounding the table and clenching your fists over your rights as a taxpayer, try to remember that that term is kind of grotesque, actually. You're not just someone buying something. You're a citizen. Citizens are supposed to care for each other and the country or municipality or province or whatever they're voting for, municipality, right? So as a citizen, what's going to be best for all? The campaigns are going to be mudslinging. It's our job to go past the mudslinging and actually do a little bit of homework, pay attention, and to be honest with yourself. If you have a candidate that you want to vote for with no experience politically, with a shabby record in terms of what they voted for in the past, whatever, well, pay attention to that. I don't know how else to put it. We're getting our blinders on, and we're getting polarized, and we're believing this whole like us against them reality of what the parties are. That is not how it actually plays out. That is not how it actually plays out. It's not the WWE. It's not good guys and bad guys. We're trying so hard to vilify and demonize whomever it is that we're up against. The platforms are out. Read the platforms. See what resonates with you. See who you trust. See who you believe. Make an informed decision on who you believe will, first of all, when we tend to forget, first of all, vote for who you think will do something for your riding, because that really matters. And then, of course, the party that you believe has the platform that aligns with what you think needs to happen for our country, for your family, and for yourself. And lastly, leadership matters. So of course it is important to decide which leader you want to actually be running the country. But be careful, because the leader doesn't trump what the leader doesn't trump what the party stands for, as much as we want to pretend that. As much as we want to pretend that a strong leader is actually getting the combination of ideas from the people that are surrounding her or him. So, thanks for sticking with me and watching this. It's not WWE. It's not good guys versus bad guys. Nobody's trying to destroy the country. Their ideas, some parties' ideas might not be working, or they might not work. Other parties don't have a solution but complain. Look for solutions to the things that you don't agree with, or the things that you believe are harming our country and harming your family and harming yourself. That's fine. But this good guy versus bad guy stuff, it is not a thing. Then we need to stop vilifying. We need to stop vilifying. They're politicians, for Pete's sake. They're pretty easy to vilify. You're going to find dirt. You're going to find dirt. They're people that, in most cases, come from legacy, come from opportunity and money, come from business. And if they don't come from business and they somehow have an enormous wealth, regardless, I'm not saying anything. What I'm saying is, for the last time, and we're running up on to 10 minutes, please do your homework. Please don't buy the nonsense and recognize that everyone is just throwing mud at each other. And then when the dust settles, when the smoke settles and when the smoke clears and the dust settles, they all work together in Parliament anyway. So make an informed decision. Please make an informed decision. Thanks for watching.